This is Crucian Gyal with another 3D printing video. In this video, I want to highlight the points of what I've printed so far, the tricks that I learned, tips that I wish somebody would have told me, and pretty much kind of go through each project that I started, finished, and learned from. Hope that you learn from the failures that I had made so you can make better prints. So here we go with the first print I decided to go with. I decided to go big. I would suggest you go small because this is, I want to say, is the second iteration of this print. The first one failed, then printed all the way, and this I ended up printing this bottom piece at least three times until it was right. And you're gonna learn that with a lot of the prints you're gonna have to worry about warping. So this actually, yeah, so this is the third iteration. The bottom piece, this is the follower for, it's basically a magazine inspired by a magazine, rifle magazine, which holds batteries, and it tells you how many batteries it holds, and it holds double A's. So this is the follower piece, and I printed this piece three times till it got right, and another, it warped or it printed halfway. And when you're beginning with the 3D printer, you gotta learn the settings, and not all prints with the same setting configuration. So that's one of those things that I had to kind of learn on the go. And also like the mechanics of your print, what your print can and cannot handle. So it printed out good. I put the piece, the spring piece that goes in, I actually got an actual spring from an actual rifle magazine. I put it in here, and I'm like, I figured like it was an old spring, so it wasn't going to be that strong. No, it broke this top. Here you go. It's talking. This piece is talking. So yeah, you gotta kind of learn the limitations of your print. I was so upset because this printed off nice, so maybe I can glue it and just have it as a paper. I don't know, but it was upsetting because it actually worked for a time, but the spring was too strong. So after that, I decided, you know what, let me go smaller with my prints, and I printed like a whole bunch of bookmarks. One thing with when you print, there's like settings on the printer where you can determine basically how the what do you call it, the starting piece, where it's basically it prints on the outside of your print, and depending on what ones you pick, either you pick one that's like it's like the skirt, and the skirt basically is like because this actually, the skirt's still on this one, and it's just basically a thin print around the model to keep it down so it doesn't warp. But sometimes you have issues where the skirt pulls off from the print, because this is a thin print. It's a bookmark pretty much. So, or it then yeah, so it kind of pulls some of the print material off from the model, and that happens. You can tell that with this piece, the skirt didn't come all the way off, so you'll still have, and those can be taken care of. You can, if you have like an X-Acto knife, or if you have a rotary tool, it can help to clean up your models. Another issue is like when you print off your models, sometimes you have pieces that don't necessarily come out. So this is basically a bookmark that was supposed to have like a area where you can hold a pen or pencil, but unfortunately that piece was still in there. I tried to take it out using an X-Acto knife, a screwdriver, any thin piece I can get in there, but if it also depends on the fill, and that's another setting on the printer. By the fill, maybe the fill was too much, that it made a thick part in the print that it wasn't able to pop out. And I tried several times the same thing, and I broke off the other one, and then this one, it just didn't want to come out as well. So yeah, it was supposed to be like hollow. Another print that I did is a stamp, and with this one, I had to print it off, I want to say this is the third iteration, because of the first ones, the lettering came off really thin, so the lettering was like maybe 2 paper height tall, and it was so thin it was barely legible, so I had to print it off again. And that's where you have to learn to, like, especially if you work with an STL file for printing, you can modify those. And you know, I had to work with the width of the letters, the height of the letters, to get it to the point where I can actually use this as a usable stamp. Another issue with when you're printing off your models is how you print them off. Now with this one, if you notice, this area is nice, it's smooth, you know, the print came out well. But this other side, you know, it's rough, and that was because I was using the rotary tool to try to take off the part of the print that's supposed to kind of stabilize the model, and it's supposed to pop off when you're done. So I pretty much printed the model, it came on the printer like this, but when I pull it off, I'm trying to like take off the printed mesh that, you know, was holding it up, stabilizing it. It refused to come out. Used the rotary tool, and this is what happened. So pretty much the rotary tool was going on real strong, so it ended up melting the plastic. So that is another issue that you're going to have to deal with when you 3D print. And then you're going to have to be patient with your printer, because sometimes you will get a good piece like this, but maybe you have to print off 2 times to get to this point, or maybe several more times. Okay, with this one is the cab of the military vehicle model that I'm printing off. And here you have trying again, you gotta print. This hair area is smooth, this area of the model not so smooth. And what I learned with this one is, you know, okay, slight imperfections, and that is can easily be taken care of by the rotary tool. So because I was like, I don't want to start all over, because it's pretty decent. So I get a lot of this that happens. So here's 2 examples. Here's an example of a finished product, and oh, look here, you have your slight imperfections. You know, maybe it printed off and there's like, for some reason, extra pieces of plastic that's still on it. You just, you can use your X-Acto knife or rotary tool to pop that off. This is it complete though, because you can see that, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then you have this, this is the wheel, and here's another one where, oh, great, it only printed off halfway. So that's another thing you gotta be patient about. Like, a lot of your models when you first start especially, is not gonna print all the way, because it's either configured wrong, or a lot of times for me, why it stopped printing halfway is because the filament stopped printing. Maybe the nozzle got plugged up, or the filament broke off, and you have to put some new filament in. So it's pretty much learning what you gotta learn with when you 3D printing. And this is another model where, you get slight pieces of plastic, you can pop that off. Maybe in here is not so smooth. It's where you have the rotary tool, especially when you have like these small pieces. But you just gotta remember, heat melts plastic, so maybe take your time with it. Yeah, be patient, because you don't want to, you know, what I did, I was impatient, and then just going all the way and just messing this up. But you know, it's a learning curve. So, but you know, you live and you learn, and you gotta learn what your models can and cannot do. You know, start small, start understanding your printer, then you can start printing bigger items, and just have patience. All right, so this is my video. There'll be other videos following on leveling and such, and I'll see you guys later.